Hello, my name is Hersh and welcome to the HERshyt Show. Well, a little bit about it. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry, you'll probably cuss at me, but that's alright. I just want to bring to you the realization of what's really going on in this world that a lot of people are afraid to speak on. Enjoy. I'm always laughing when that damn recording is.
Every single time.
Yes, indeed. So, last week we pretty much had a whole shebang about the teachers and the protecting of our children and the weapons and this and that and third. So this week we're going to go into calling it what it really is. Domestic terrorism. Mm-hmm. Domestic terrorism. And, you know, when domestic terrorism is nothing new in this country. They just didn't call it that. You know, hell, this country was founded on domestic terrorism, truth be told. But it wasn't the United States of America then, you know. So they just was just bullying each other and snatching lands and doing ignorant shit. They didn't call it what it was. But we gonna call it what it is. It's 2000 deuce, you know. And there's too much shit popping off these days that people still blame mental health. We all got some mental health issues, but some more than others, of course. And we're not going to take away from that. There's definitely some more than others. And they had to get away with, and we touched on it briefly before, about the 6.2% mental health facilities in the United States are actually full psychiatric facilities. Right? And I got the gist of why asylums got shut down. And we need to do some deep research on asylums too. You know, it's main attractions for ghost hunters and shit like that. But there's an ugly truth to that as well. Because, you know, men would be like, oh, my wife is psychotic, lock this bitch up. And go drop her off and sign her rights away. You know, so I can understand the purpose of there needing to be a better screening selection versus, but back then women were men's property. They were their husband's property. So the man could do whatever. So if he wanted a new side chick to be his main chick, he just go lock the wife up in an asylum and call it a day. You know, but they were extremely understaffed and underfunded. So the government creates these, and I'm not meaning just the president. Y'all get away from that shit. Because some of y'all really don't understand how the different branches work and all of that, but sweetheart, and don't come on here getting to fussing and arguing and this and that and the third without doing your research first. So I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna argue with you. But bottom line is the government created this program. They was like, you know what? People obviously got some issues in this country. Let's create these asylums. But of course, you're always going to have... I know, right? Where's the flea?
Throw that net.
But anything that is created for good, somebody's going to find a way to turn it into bad. Somebody.
Always.
And you had people taking advantage of the asylums, including the parents that didn't know how to care for their handicapped children, their disabled children. I don't know how to take care of them, so I'm just going to throw them in this location and get the hell on. You know, I might come visit once or twice, but they were embarrassed, you know, by their child being disabled or handicapped or their wife
I've had
or husband.
Might be my great uncle. He got put in one.
In an asylum?
But it had to be done.
But that goes to show you that's not that long ago.
It had to be done.
So what was that, in the 70s?
Something like that.
Yeah, because the 80s is when Reagan, was it that?
Yeah, because it was terrible. But I mean, it was bad.
Because it was strictly, they had what, one nurse to like
he was in
50
the military,
people?
and he ended up, I don't
So
know.
he was shell shocked.
It,
Because they didn't call it PTSD then, they called it shell shock.
or
It got to him.
and he come back to be sweet as he could be and split. And then he beat somebody to death.
He was in Vietnam?
I don't know. I don't know the whole history. I don't know the exact story, but
you said uncle. That's Vietnam
like
time
a great
frame.
uncle. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Or Korean War.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He beat the hell out of somebody, and
because they didn't have mental health care really for veterans then.
this was in Alabama. They put him in a place.
Oh, they damn sure did.
They visited them. They went and visited them, like,
Yeah.
But
it's very hard, and I know people to this day that really screamed out for the help. And they go to the emergency room to get, so now you go to the emergency room, you go through a screening process, and then the doctor makes a judgment call of, yes, you do need to go to intake to one of the facilities or whatever, but they're not there's no long-term facilities unless you get locked up for murder and they deemed you insane, clinically insane, and then you go to a medical facility prison, but why should I have to wait until it gets to that point?
Exactly.
For me to be able to get somebody help. Yeah, we preach it all the time. Call the national hotlines, text the numbers if you don't, because everybody needs somebody to talk to, bottom line. But when it comes to a point of, like, prime example, this recent school shooting, that was a domestic terrorist act. And then you have people be like, oh, well, they still have rights. They still have rights. They still have rights. Me, for one, kill them on spot. Fuck due process. When you walked into that classroom and killed innocent babies and some adults that was attempting to protect those innocent babies, you don't deserve a day in the courtroom.
Well, I don't think it's insanity because it's premeditated.
You planned and took videos of the weapons.
It's premeditated. When you sitting there thinking about it, researching, doing this, you're thinking about it beforehand.
Mm-hmm. You're plotting. Mm-hmm. You're getting up the nerve to do it. And they start by, what is it? And again, we're not clinicians. No. We're not psychiatrists. But there's a pattern. And the pattern tells a tale. The killing of the rabbits and the squirrels and this and that out of fun, and they're practicing to get to that desensitization of, let me get to this level. But when it comes down to walking into a school or into an office building, that's not a moment of snap. That's not you protecting yourself from abusers in the foster care system, or even your parents' home where the dad's been raping you your whole life, and like the Menendez brothers. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a whole history there. And it came down to a point of where they snapped. Was it money motivated? I don't know. I'm not their lawyer. I'm not involved in that case. But when the history came out, it was bound to end up happening. You know what I'm saying? With the supposed rape and alleged this and alleged and abuse and this and that and third. Again, we wasn't there, so I don't know the full story. But from the research aspect, I don't think them boys, I don't think they should have gotten the time that they got. You know what I mean? Especially when it boils down. But again, your jury, your peer, you're tried and jured, mm-hmm. Through a trial. So it's up to your peers of how many ever people's on the jury these days. But when it comes down to a malicious act, a domestic terrorist act, of you solely deciding to purchase the weapon, to get to that location, to take the time to walk in and open fire on children, you don't deserve to breathe. Ain't no constitutional rights for you no more.
I agree.
There's innocent people sitting on the death row level right now. We discussed that earlier. And I'm all for exoneration, and I did look into that. Matter of fact, the reason why it takes so long is because of the appeals processes. So, but again, serial killers to me are similar to domestic terrorists. You're creating chaos. You're creating the Austin bomber. It wasn't I'm just gonna, they didn't select a certain ethnicity or nothing like that. He just rode around and it dates all the way back to putting bombs in judges' mailbox or on their front porch. Mm-hmm. Back when the FBI was created. That's why it was created, because a dude decided to put bombs and blow up judges' houses or whatever. You know what I mean? He was targeting. That's domestic terrorism. So if you don't know the different definitions of terrorism, you have international terrorism. Common sense. What is international terrorism? Ideations, etc. International. They're not from the United States, etc. Then you have homegrown terrorism. Homegrown terrorism is, I'm born in the United States, but I'm following the Taliban. I'm following ISIS. I'm getting their ideations from the international level. You see what I'm saying? But I was born in the United States. Then you have domestic terrorists. Domestic terrorism is, I was born in the United States and my ideologies are not from the international aspect. So you can sum up the KKK, what is it? What's the bitch ass group? Oath Boys or Oath, whatever they are. The group Oath Keepers, whatever they are. The White House, the ones that try to storm the White House type stuff, the Oath Keepers or the Proud Boys or whatever.
Proud Boys or some shit.
Yeah. Bitch ass people. But,
I know it.
That's domestic terrorism. Mm-hmm. Because you're plotting and planning. The neo-Nazis. I don't even know why you would even want to be a part of a group of either one of them. But Nazis, we had a whole war against that. But that's about is the South is going to rise again mentality. You know what I mean? We had a whole war about that. Get over it. You know what I'm saying? But there's not going to be any type of world that we live in where there's not going to be some type of prejudice and hate. Because prejudice and hate also comes from fears of the unknown. And unless people are willing to open their minds up and their hearts up and use their moral compass, of would I want to be treated that way? Or, if I'm being bullied, I'm going to target that one person. You know what I'm saying? If I want revenge, I'm not going to go into a full university or people playing at the park and just start randomly spraying. To me, that makes you a pussy. You a punk. You scared. You know what I mean? If it gets to that point, there's something that's really, and the families see it. The people around you, you always hear it after the fact. Oh, but they were so quiet.
That's the one you watch out for.
Right?
That's the one you watch out for.
Or it was, I knew they was always so strange. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always after the fact. But then you have the media trying to spin it up. And I think one of the politicians was like, well, after 9/11 happened, we didn't stop the planes. So they try to compare that about the Second Amendment rights with the weapons. We didn't take planes. Why would we take weapons? It's not about the weapons. It's about the capabilities and the lack of training and the easy access is what it boils down to.
Well, like I said, when we were growing up, they had shotguns in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
It was a different time then. We had different sense.
But we would also get into a fight. If I wanted to fight you, we might fight in front of that same truck. At no time did either one of us
think about getting a gun.
Let's get that gun.
No, we did that right here.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But you have legit people. They're still sundown towns. Ain't no telling what them motherfuckers is willing to do. There was a legit whole green book.
Some people don't know
for
what
certain
roads. Tell them what that is.
But the sundown towns means if your ass ain't white, you better get the fuck out that town before the sun go down. Mm-hmm. And there's legit still secret hideout locations that are still in existence to today. Because there was a lot of areas where they did not want black folks moving to. Or anybody that wasn't white. Let me put it that way. Because it's not all about black and white. It's about let me think I'm pure. So it's all about we ain't mixing races. Well, sweetheart, your ass is mixed whether you believe it or not.
That's why I think it's important, like you said, like they need to do the ancestry.
Do the DNA test.
I literally know people that will not get it done because of that.
Make that mandatory. Like, go find out who your people is.
For real.
And put it out there so we know.
I got Africa in mine.
Yeah.
Everybody does. And the little girl, the little Cash Me Outside, once she found out she had her little 1% in her,
that was white European and ours. It was a small percentage, but that's
it's still in there. Mine was Great Britain.
It's there.
But then the Africa had to
because you got to look at it. You had the Spaniards and you had the English try to take over the world, Craig. You know what I'm saying? They just in the pinky in the brain type shit. They woke up every day and was like, we're going to take over the world. You know, some Austin Powers shit. $1 billion. You know, you had ignorance, period. And once you got Vikings, like, man, come on. Viking blood, and then the Spaniards was like, hey, and the French and Europeans and all them bubbas was like, we gonna take over everything. It's all ours. So you had them go to Africa. You had the transatlantic slave trade. You had them go to Africa and all these islands and all these locations and traveled around the world. And then at one point, Russia was able to walk into Alaska with no problems. It's covered up now by water. But people don't know their history. They don't understand the migration. Then you had the Great Migration from the south to the north. You had, come on, man. You got Lover's Leap right there in West Virginia, where an Indian woman fell in love with a white man and they committed suicide off the cliff. Like, there's all these different stories.
They would have us to believe that was so taboo to sleep with somebody outside of your race. Growing up, that's what you heard. You'll get, especially black kids, you get beat up, you get hung. Don't hold hands.
Yeah.
Don't stare at them. But if you really look at the history, they were sleeping with black people the whole time.
Yes.
Look at George Washington or whoever.
Yeah, they
had a whole Thomas Jefferson.
But think,
the descendants of Thomas Jefferson.
Black people were getting told and getting indoctrinated into your head that you don't go outside your race.
But them motherfuckers are quick to incest.
They were doing the whole time.
The whole time they trying to keep it in the family to try to keep it in the family.
So it's just that double.
And then you got them Hills Have Eyes type children.
They out there. They out there. But it's a big melting pot, and that's kind of like.
But it's true.
You can't hide the fact it's a melting pot. But
look, it is. But even look at England. The Queen Elizabeth, she married a cousin. You know what I'm saying? Because they wanted to keep shit
far off. Like on our generation, like this, there's cousins that not too far back. They still married each other. That's not too far.
Oh well, you ain't cousin by blood. You cousin on my auntie's side by the distance. That's still family.
I couldn't imagine being like, are you kidding me? No.
If I call you any type of family member, I can.
Let's get married.
Oh my God. But people kill me and then you turn around and they look at domestic terrorism in the same breath. They got mental health issues. Well, bitch, so does a lot of us. We're all dealing with something on a daily basis.
Everybody's dealing with some kind of shit. It don't matter.
And then they'll be like, well, there's no laws. Yes, there is. How many civil rights laws do we need in this country? How many? How many hate crime laws? Because you got federal level and then you got state level. So when I was doing my PhD, I had to pause on it because me and legit, my chair got into it about my paper and my topic. And my topic was, and still is, because I am going to finish my PhD, but my topic is relating to domestic terrorism in the United States. You know what I mean?
They had a problem with that.
And I legit, my professor was like, or my chair was like, but that's not really a big problem. I said, so the KKK is just dead.
Very much
So the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys would be real happy this month, wouldn't they? I don't know why they named themselves that. But anyway, I think somebody's slick in the closet. They just don't want to admit to it. But, you know, there's so many different aspects of domestic terrorism And then you have, so Bill Clinton created, what was it? The Anti-Terrorism and Effective Death Penalty Act of 1996 was Bill Clinton, right? And that was to pretty much focus on one level of it. But then when 9/11 happened, the Patriot Act was born by President Bush.
Okay.
And we're going to take a break on that note. Y'all grab some coffee. We'll be right back. All right. So, my name is Hersh and welcome to the HERshyt Show. I just wanted to do a little quick snippet and clip it to bring some awareness to you. You do not have to be famous or a celebrity or whatever. You don't have to be none of that to come on the HERshyt Show. The HERshyt Show is literally to talk shit, to have topics that people won't discuss, or to be a conversation starter, so to speak. You can reach out to on Facebook. You can reach out on Instagram. You could just reach out to thehershitshow@gmail.com with your topic or with your name. We got the Zoom launched already, so we can actually do that at your convenience. You don't even have to travel because you're not getting paid to come on the HERshyt Show, and I'm not getting paid for you to be here. So let's help each other out. If you got a topic, reach out. The HERshyt Show does not shy away from any conversation. I promise you that. So again, the HERshytshow@gmail.com or the HERshyt Show on Instagram or Facebook. And we will get back to you as quickly as possible. Come be on the show. Your book, your business, whatever you want to talk about. If you got a topic, just reach out to us. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Thank you. So welcome back. But so the Patriot Act of 2001, when 9/11 happened, right? We ain't doing Hills Have Eyes right now. We're in a serious topic.
Okay, yeah.
We're gonna be serious. Okay. So So the Patriot Act happened after 9/11, right? President Bush was like, listen, we need to be able to make this shit happen. We need to be able to get... But the biggest focus when 9/11 happened was international. They wasn't looking to their left and their right. You know what I mean? Oh, it ain't gonna happen by our own people. We need to go out and get all the rest of the international terrorists, The airport's locked down. You had, what was it? The underwear bomber? The underwear bomber or something?
What was that?
It was an underwear bomber. He tried to get through the airport with a bomb in his drawers. They called him the underwear bomber. I bullshit you not. Look it up, boss man. The underwear bomber. I think that was his name. Underwear bomber. Through the airport. Because you remember the airport was going berserk at one point.
That was terrible.
Underwear bomber. Yep. Underwear bomber. Umar Farouk.
Nigeria?
Blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Blah, 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 blah.
At the age of 23, attempted to detonate plastic explosives hidden in his drawers. So that's international, right? That's international terrorism. He wasn't from the United States, right? So then you got the Boston bombers. They came over a long time ago. When they did the Boston bombing.
Mm-hmm.
They came over a long time ago. Pretty much grew up in America, XYZ, right? And then, so that's, again, either homegrown or international. Then you have Eric Rudolph.
Mm-hmm, I remember that.
Eric Rudolph wasn't once, but twice.
Yeah.
The Olympic of 96 and prior to that.
It's like, why don't the penalties, come look at the penalties for this underwear bomber, somebody from Nigeria.
Yeah.
4 life terms plus 50 years. That's what he got. 4 life terms. That's 20 years each, right?
Yeah. Up to. Yeah.
Plus 50 years. Like, wow, that's a good sentence for someone, but you don't see that happening across the board.
It don't happen across the board.
That's the issue right there.
That is the issue right there. Because when it comes down to domestic terrorism, and when I was doing my research for my PhD, I found that without going into too much detail, but I did find that there was a lot claiming, well, Americans have rights.
Wow.
Americans have constitutional rights. So when they go out and do things and try to, Oklahoma City bombing, the Olympic 1996 bombing, you have so many different, what happened in Boston, in New York recently, in Buffalo.
Yeah.
He legit wrote his shit on his weapon and had a whole manifesto.
And drove 200 miles.
Drove 200 miles.
To do it. And they still don't want to call it what it is. Did they call that one? Did they end up labeling that one as a terrorist?
People are finally starting to. The media is finally starting to. But look at what happened in Charleston.
Yeah.
That boy went and got Burger King. You see what I'm saying? They took him to go get Burger King after the church shooting.
Set him down real nice. It's crazy.
But let it be anybody that's not of paleness. It's a whole different story. The young man that just did the school shooting in Texas, he wasn't white. You see what happened to him?
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's got to be equal across the board. And granted, different people are trained different ways. Every state and local law enforcement is trained in different ways, sadly. It's not across the board. They get the same basic, but then they have their own state and local laws that they have to abide by, their guidelines within their vicinity. Some shit like that happened in Cobb County. I don't give a damn what color you are. They blowing your ass off.
Oh, yeah.
And then the hate crime, the Asian locations. He was from a different country than the other country. So he targeted because of the beef that's going on in the Asian countries. Had nothing to do with what's going on here. But he felt some type of way. So it happens across all backgrounds. All types of people. But what is the bottom line? It's not across the board as far as treatment.
Yeah. If you don't start treating that seriously, it doesn't deter people from continuing to.
That's my whole point there.
There's no true deterrent because, I'll be out in 20 years.
But when the Patriot Act was created, they was using, research showed that they were using that as an excuse to catch more dope boys and get guns off the streets in like New York and all of that because it was a warrantless thing. Like if you got tagged as a terrorist, your rights was pretty much done.
Oh, yeah.
They was coming in. So all they had to say was, and it was about with the wiretapping and all that. It was free reign. As long as somebody was tagged as a terrorist, they could start tapping and listening and doing what they needed to do to surveil you. And then they didn't really have to have a warrant to come kick in the door because you were a terrorist. You was about to do terrorist acts. And granted, there's a lot of dope boys that do terrorist motherfucking acts.
Mm-hmm.
But they not doing it in schools.
No, they got a code.
There's a code. There's a street code, period.
Where the people outside of their life still don't understand it. Or I don't know if they ever will, but there is.
And I'm not saying that it's cool to do it.
Yeah.
But they're not premeditated to drive 200 miles to go shoot up a grocery store in a black community. I'm not choosing, the dope boys ain't choosing to walk into a church and sit in there and be welcomed in to open fire on those that welcomed your ass in. Man, listen, I don't give a damn what kind of dope boy you are. I bet you they ain't not gonna play around no church. Might be in front of a funeral, but they not gonna play around in no church. No. There's codes.
There's codes.
But
and they handle their own too. If you do
keep
something
it in-house
like that, you might want to hope the police get to you before the streets get to you.
Exactly.
And that's just the way it is.
There's a code. No children, no women, and then there's certain morals and conducts that you have to go by. Granted, we're not condoning any type of violence at all at the HERshyt Show.
That's a fact. There is.
But domestic terrorism is domestic terrorism. Terrorism, period, is creating havoc and chaos to put fear in others and to harm others. That's terrorist. Now, there's local, like Georgia laws, I know for a fact. I got charged with a terroristic threat for telling somebody I was going to whoop their ass. I ain't lying. 16. We had somebody on three-way back in the day, we had somebody on three-way here that you told another little girl that you was going to whoop her ass. I said, I sure did.
That's that honesty.
But I got locked up for terroristic threats. I didn't even know that was a thing.
They locked you up for that?
Hell yeah.
Damn.
So I went and handled business a little bit later on. Since I got locked up, I'm going to get locked up for a reason. Damn right. But we don't condone no violence. But my thing is, instead of shooting up a place or instead of, just knuck if you buck. Knuck if you buck. If you got a beef with somebody, handle your business. But plotting to shoot up a spot because your feelings got hurt or you got your ego busted down or, man, go find one of them 6.2 mental health facilities that is psychiatric hospitals and turn yourself in if it gets to that point. And I'm dead ass serious. Do not take the lives of innocent personnel because you got punked or you feel punked. Now, domestic terrorism is what it is. And I'm glad that the media is finally starting to call it what it is. Because they are hate crimes. But it's also domestic terrorism. But if they get tagged as a terrorist, pretty much the rights go away. That's why I think they were so hesitant. They didn't want to admit that America had terrorists. Hell, this whole damn history of this country didn't want to admit that we had terrorists. They ain't went away overnight just because we've integrated. Again, we still got sundown towns. And there's local, state, and federal laws. And it kills me that people be like, well, the president needs to change it. Goes back to understanding the different levels of legislation, We need to have that little Bills cartoon come back out. You remember the little folded up Bill that used to sit on the front porch? They're voting on me today. You remember that little cartoon?
Mm-mm.
He had little feet and everything.
I remember that.
It was the Bill. And he walked down like the steps of wherever they was at. I don't know if it was the Lincoln Hall. I don't know where it was at. But it was an old little short commercial cartoon that had the bill rolled up, and it kind of got people into the mind of thinking about how bills were voted upon. The president don't get to make all the decisions.
Manipulation.
Oh my God.
Throughout the world and everything. I'm like,
them Biden stickers are hilarious as shit though. They are, but it's not true. He didn't do it. I did this. I mean, they're hilarious, but he didn't do it. But bottom line, you have the USA Freedom Act that Obama signed in 2015. You got the Anti-Terrorism and Effective Death Penalty Act of 1996 from President Clinton. You got the Patriot Act of 2001 that was actually changed up a little bit in 2006. We have federal laws in place. Local and state laws also have the terrorist threats, the terroristic threats laws, the whatever type of laws. Research your area and understand it. And if you see something, say something, man. Stop being scared to get involved to protect other people. You remember back in the day, it used to be called he going postal. Because the dude would snap off and shoot,
I still say that.
Yeah, he going postal. We actually had that happen at the FedEx spot. And so now it's like going into a prison. You got to go through so many doggone metal detectors and shit just to get into the FedEx. Because people do go postal. But that's not to say it's different, but it is different. That's their workplace.
I think that is different. Because you got to think, you got these high stress environments.
Yeah.
You're going every day and you deal with people with attitudes, bad, because so much you do every day for years, and then there comes a point where it triggers you.
Yeah.
That's a mental problem. That's something that triggered you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They snap.
Yeah, you snap. So that person doesn't know.
But you legit still premeditate to go get a weapon.
Yeah. No.
And come back. It's not like you had the weapon on you when you walked into work that day.
No, that's what I guess I'm trying to differentiate between somebody that goes and brings a weapon into versus somebody that's at work and you just have one day where you might not you just snap one day.
Yeah.
Like that's different.
That's different.
That's a mental episode.
But you're not killing everybody in the building.
Somebody. You might go off on some people, they gonna call some people to come get you, but
yeah.
To go bring a weapon.
You premeditated that.
You had to think about that.
And that falls in line with serial killing is what, more than 2?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it more than 2 they deem you as a serial killer? You had the Pulse nightclub in Orlando.
I remember that.
The gay club in Orlando. That happened. You've had all the school shootings that's happened, university shootings that's happened. Even at Lennox, I ain't going to Lennox for nobody these days. Lennox done turned into Greenbrier back in the day.
Lennox is crazy. It's like an upscale Greenbrier.
Is that, I ain't doing.
What's going on with Lennox?
Man, there's so many shootings happening.
It's just bad. It's just
for
young kids that think they get like. Last time I went, you can feel the tension. You're walking through there and you see these groups of kids and they're making eye contact with you as if you move over, I'm not moving over. Something that simple.
To try to start some beef.
Yeah, because everybody's trying to prove they're somebody.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to prove.
That's exactly it.
Instead of being themselves, they want to try to be known.
Welcome in. I don't have a problem going over here. If you want to walk, go ahead on, bro.
Yeah.
You know,
you got it.
But it's some people that will not move. They will not. They're gonna stare at you back, and they're gonna talk. They're gonna say something, and then that triggers. It just.
Hey, young man, who the fuck you think you are?
Yeah. And it's just like I'm like you. I don't even want to play that game.
I'm not finna play that game. You got it.
Yeah, you got it, bro.
I like my life too much.
I ain't got a shop over here. I don't even live out here. I'm going back to my town.
We never went to Lennox. Well, the only reason why we went to Lennox back in the day was to walk in looking busted up just to see the rich people snooted up. And
that's why a lot of people go now.
We used to go be petty.
You can still go and you have a celebrity site. Everybody shops there. From Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, but they also go to Stonecrest. They also go to other malls. You know what I mean? It's not just there.
Yeah, it's just a thought. They think you go there, you're gonna win something or meet somebody that's gonna set your career off. But everybody's out there trying to prove something.
But you better start making some mixtapes and mailing that shit to the radio station like they did back when. Right. But it's just bottom line. There's laws in place. Call it what it is. Call it what it is. Yeah, it's mental health. You got that part right. But every person on this earth got some mental health reasons. And yes, there's different levels. Don't get your draws in a wad. I understand. There's different types of levels. I don't know what everybody is going through. I'm not that individual. But something has to be done again. And to me, I don't care what your background is or what your ethnicity is. If you walk into a school and shoot that thing up, if you walk into a church and shoot that thing up, if you walk into a grocery store and shoot that thing up and it was all literal plots, you don't deserve a day in court. You are a domestic terrorist. Period. Point blank.
I agree.
Something's got to give. We have to start deterring the ignorance. We have to start holding accountable the politicians that you voted in. And again, it's not just the presidency that counts. It's local levels, state levels, district level. Who's representing your side?
You can see it because you can look now. There's video clips where you can see these local senators and Congress people saying some of the most stupidest, most ignorant things.
Watch C-SPAN.
Like,
listen to it.
Like the stuff that I'm hearing, like you really said that somebody actually voted you in office.
But you can research the bills that they were for and against previously as well. But that's how people from the Jim Crow era and up are still sitting in office because nobody is doing their background and understanding. And yes, I got it. People can change for the better. So maybe something back in the 60s is not how they feel now. Got it. That was a totally different time. They changed. That don't mean they still ain't undercover though. So you have to pay attention to that individual that is representing your district, your state, so on and so forth. You vote your local sheriffs in. Sheriff, there's a new sheriff in town. And depending on who's there is going to pretty much show what kind of police force you going to have. So you vote for them. You vote for the judges. You vote it's like a 4-H club, damn it. You got your parliamentarian, your secretary, and everybody else. The treasuries, everybody gets a vote. But sadly, the only time the lines are long is when it's the presidency vote. But the president can only do so much. Mm-hmm. Because it has to go through 2 other damn levels before it gets to him.
I just seen a video of Biden trying to explain the gas thing. And it's almost like he just went off on Exxon and walked off. Because, I mean, what else? Like, what else can he do?
There's nothing, because if the prices are going up.
Because he said there is not a shortage of the production. He said they stopped producing because they know they can pay, y'all gonna pay more.
Yeah.
So they're just saying, we're not gonna make no more because if we got less, we can charge more.
And then you got people that, they stopped the key pipe, whatever that damn pipeline was. Right. That shit was coming from Canada, bro. That wasn't even ours. So it's like
you said, they can produce more oil, they can produce more. They won't because they can raise the prices.
Yeah.
So he was like,
money.
That's what it's all about. It's all about money.
It's all about money. Greed is killing this nation.
That's people in power.
The housing market's about to crash.
Housing market.
It's gonna crash. It's coming. It's coming.
I'm just glad I'm in a house right now. I'm gonna sit down for a while. I gotta wait it out.
Man, people legit, where I work at, they was paying before Hurricane Ida time frame, they was paying, a decent amount. I think the fair market rate was maybe $1,000.
$1,000, $1,200.
Yeah.
$1,300 at the most.
In the last year, it ain't even been a year. Hurricane Ida hit at the end of August. In the last few months, well, we're at 10 months now. It's almost a year.
No, I see it. I got 2 houses, so I get the reports, and it's up 28%. 28% is a lot. When you're talking thousands of dollars, that's at least $250 more on the low end. And
it's greed. It's really greed. I'm not paying a higher mortgage, so why am I charging you $400 extra?
I just seen a father in tears because his grown daughter couldn't get an apartment because they said that you had to make 3 times.
Yeah, you can't even do that. Like, you got to have that in your pocket.
But it's like, what kid come out
and
of college?
And a credit score. And a 620 credit score.
Well, what kid come out of college go walk into a job that's going to pay them $5,000 a month?
You got to have like triple.
$6,000 a month. They just...
But the prices itself is $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 a month minimum these days.
That's on the cheaper end.
Yeah. So he's like, man, he should not have to co-sign on a house. I'm like, you're right. I'm not. I wouldn't do that. That's crazy, but that's what a lot of people have to do. They're going back to their parents to get co-sign or living with their parents.
Mm-hmm. Which to me would make more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then whatever you pay on your rent doesn't go to your credit score.
Yeah.
It can.
It can?
On Experian. I think it's TransUnion or Experian. I think it's Experian. You can boost it. It's called a boost. It's called Experian Boost, where you can turn in like your bills, your monthly bills, and they track that and they add it to your credit score.
Everybody should know about that, yeah.
Yeah. And I think Experian is the only one that does it right now. But you have to like give like your login information, your account information, so they can still track it. So if you don't pay, if you go 30 days in a hole for your light bill and you know you can, and don't put that shit on your credit report. You can stay within your budget. But if you pay your rent every month on time, add at least your rent to it. Yeah. It boosts your credit score.
Yeah.
But not everybody uses Experian. There's 3 different credit reports. So again, just use the laws that are in place and get rid of we need to have a team sit down of different generations and go through every single, because there's still laws that are in place that don't need to be there anymore. Don't put an ice cream cone in your pocket on Sundays. Don't eat chicken with your fingers. Like, there is some dumbass laws.
You can Google that. It's some stupid laws still in that nobody just never went. Nobody observes it, but at the same time, nobody changed.
Yeah, there's some, what was it? You can't say boy or something, some Georgia law. It's something weird back years and years ago, and I'm like.
Well, I understand that one because we are in the South. And
it was something like, it was like
everybody knew what boy meant back then.
We would fight. If you called us boy, buddy, it was a couple things you can call us, and my dad had told us, like, we didn't really let you call us that.
No, because them fighting words.
It's lighter now.
Yeah.
But back in the day, you can just walk.
Well, our generation started finally, even though we still had to deal with some bullshit in the 80s and 90s, It's nowhere near now
Right.
the way that it was, but it seems like history's starting to repeat itself, and there are those that decide to try to dwindle it back in.
Right.
Now, granted, the incidents are massive to say the least, but it's not as common as it was in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
Mm-hmm.
We have came a very, very long way. However, we got to deter it. We got to stop it.
Yeah.
Fuck racism is always my hashtag. You know, I'm a firm believer in standing by that. And the only way to be able to really get it done is to have the open conversations.
We have to.
To understand one another.
We got to get past the issues that they keep putting in front of us. Like, I really wish people would just say women's right to choose. Let's get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Women's right to choose, you win.
Period, point blank.
Yeah, point blank.
Yeah.
That should not be on the table. There's so much other stuff that we really got to decide that is for a man and a woman to decide, like all the other laws and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let a woman choose.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do that one little thing, imagine all that time that we get back.
Mm-hmm.
That we can focus on some things that we really need to do.
And the sad part is these same grown folks that are arguing over the most minute, stupid shit are the same ones that are raising the next generation and teaching their children and their grandchildren. Otherwise, I wonder what their topics and conversations are behind those closed doors when they're not sitting in front of a podium.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? But there's ways to deter domestic terrorism. We don't need new laws. We have the laws in place. Enforce them.
Yeah, you just need them enforced. That's what's happening. They're just not being enforced.
There also needs to be a time limit on death row. If you have to get some more Supreme Court justices in there, baby, make it happen. Have one special team of judges that go through the appeals processes. And it's, state, it's local, state.
There's one where you look at
etc.
death penalty. He done got killed, but it was Daddy Don or something. It's the guy who killed his 2 daughters in spite of his 2 little girls, in spite of his ex-wife.
In spite of his ex-wife?
Yeah.
He killed his children.
He had it on the phone. And she was like, Daddy, why you don't do this, Daddy? And she had to hear him shooting his daughters. And he was on death row for like 20 years or something like that.
No.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
And he's a narcissistic guy. He still didn't take no blame. He's like, well, it's because of her.
Because of her.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad. I was like, you son of a bitch.
But see, people like that, to me, it falls in line with domestic terrorism.
Oh, yeah.
He
shot him point blank in the head.
Everybody's bitching about taxes going up and repaying that stimulus check, but baby, your taxes is also paying them 3 hots and a cot and a couple of snacks for them same individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really want to get up in heights about something that really matters about where your taxes go, pay attention. Pay attention where your taxes is going in your local area and how much your taxes are going towards even federal level state prisons that hold serial killers or domestic terrorists or international terrorists, homegrown terrorists. It don't matter. They're all terrorists. And how long, what is that? But people don't want to take the time out to do such research. They just want to be able to have something to bitch about.
Yeah.
The gas prices. I don't know not damn motherfucker that fills their truck up every time they go to the pump or their car. But now all of a sudden everybody wants to do it so they can take a picture of how much it costs to fill up your car.
And you really don't have a choice. That's the thing. Like, if you want to go to work, if you want to take your son
you gotta
to
pay.
school, you got to pay. It's just the way it is. So you're going to complain about it and live this negative life, or you're going to keep moving.
And when I first started driving, it was still 76 cents.
Yeah.
It was 76
That's
cents.
back when you can take $3 and
oh man, I remember.
But you can scrape together a couple quarters.
Like $6. That was back up 2 weeks.
Exactly.
You're looking in the center console with change. That's my gas money.
Exactly. But you don't see us up in high horses about the gas prices. I don't even look at that shit.
It's something you can't control.
My shit stay on. If it ain't full, it's on E. It ain't no in between. I ride it until the dust falls off in that joker. My light came on the other day when I pulled into my driveway and I had just left the gas station. I ain't lying. I started laughing at myself. I said, well, at least I know I got 30 more miles left in there once the light hit. I can make it back to the gas station.
Well, as long as I can go to work and go and eat, and I don't. If I don't have gas and you ask me to come, I'll just tell you, like, look, I can't come. Like, I ain't got no gas. I'll see you next time.
So, but period point
See,
blank.
I'm honest about like that.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
see
no,
this
I'm not.
time.
I'm good.
Worry about shit that we have control over.
Yeah, there you go right there.
We have control over who we vote into office. We have control over being able to write the petitions and pushing the fact that domestic terrorism don't need constitutional rights. Let it fall up under the Patriot Act. Once you get tagged as a terrorist, that's wrap. Yes, you can still have your due process and your Miranda rights read and all that good stuff. But if you made it out alive, then you got your day in court. Understood. You're going to be found guilty. But if you're given the death penalty, I think 15 years max. 10, 15. 10 or 15
That's
years.
pushing
You, 10,
I mean, that's pushing it,
It's
then.
really pushing it. Like, you living good.
Yeah. 3 hots in a car and some snacks.
Yeah.
They've got video teleconferencing and shit availabilities now. You took away, when you decided to wake up that morning and I don't give a damn how mad I am at somebody, they still have a family. You know, that temporary moment. Now, back in the day, I probably wouldn't even have thought twice about it. But, you know, as you get older and you mature and this and that, third, got to understood experience. But if you allow a temporary moment to create a long-term outcome or a death outcome upon yourself, then you had issues from jump. You should have asked for help. And we could say shoulda, coulda, woulda, did, whatever, but we got to do something. The laws are there, just like with the police situation. There's some damn good police officers in uniform that actually chose to take part. Become a part of the solution. Period, point blank. Stop bitching about it and become part of the solution. There's so many ways that you can get involved. If you are capable and you are that frustrated with the justice system, become a part of the justice system. Work your way to the top, make the changes. Show by example, lead by example. See something, say something. If you want to become a teacher, become a teacher. Because the education system is going to shit. You know, if you want to become a politician, shit, go get your votes. Put your name on the ballot. Right? I thought about it. Shit, why not? Yeah, we gonna run. We gonna run. Y'all gonna vote? I'll be the first tattooed one in there. I'm gonna make sure I get the rest of my neck done too while I'm in.
I'm gonna give you some teardrops.
No, let's not do that. We ain't going that far.
Give me a little spider web going up my face.
Definitely not the spider web.
Spider web up my face. Little black widow spider.
No,
That's white supremacists. Why would you get?
Oh, I didn't know that.
See?
See, my bad.
Don't get no spider webs. The spider webs on the elbows.
So
there's history in all of that.
I know a lot of it had symbolism, but I didn't know.
Yeah,
I knew
but that's about like wearing pineapples on cruises. I don't know if y'all heard about it. If you wear pineapple anything on cruises, just let people know that you're down for whatever. Like there's meaning.
That would be my luck. I'd probably have like pineapple earrings. Maybe like I'm like, what are you doing? Wow! I'd knock somebody's slap out. Like,
oh, man.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Oh, I could just imagine me wearing some kind of pineapple and be like, hey, babe, I'm like,
But bottom line is, become a part of the solution. We got to enforce this. Stop making new laws that contradict other laws and just use the
that's
laws
just it.
that's
It's all
already
collapsing,
there.
but none of it makes sense. None of it's like,
We need to
make
make sense. Make it make sense. Like, sweep the board, have a 24-hour moment where we shut down and y'all just start going through it. Like, start with the old ass laws and start weeding them out. Getting rid of them. State, local levels. Vote, man. Get out
At least
and
I know not to
vote.
wear pineapples now.
That's the safe word too, according to Kevin Hart.
That was always my safe word when I was out
But
there
on
doing what I
cruises,
do.
pineapples mean a whole different
I ain't
thing.
doing no cruise around yellow pineapple.
Dang.
That's just like on deployment, people that wore, because we had to wear them PT belts or whatever. During a deployment in a combat zone, we had to wear PT belts, yes.
You safe word now.
But they would wear like, so apparently the different color PT belts meant something too.
Really?
Pink was like, I don't know.
It's just
People come up with
the nature
symbolisms.
of what it is to be human. Symbolism is huge.
Yeah,
We might have to have that be a topic one day.
The
But-
shoes.
Just random symbolism.
yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah,
there's so
I know.
many different, People make up something and it becomes a
I'm gonna do some
trend.
research and look up the weirdest symbols that we have and things that mean what we don't know. But
Oh, that's all across the board, like Saturn, all them car
Just come in
logos.
with a printout and put it in front of us,
Right.
and we'll do a blind reaction to some
Right.
of them.
yeah, that would be good.
But granted, we need more mental health facilities that are long term.
Mhm.
We need to focus on our local and state laws and who we're voting into different levels of different politic realms, especially with the justice system. And definitely the lawmakers. The lawmakers, and I'm not meaning just the top. I don't give a damn who's the president. It still got to go through the different levels.
Yeah.
You know, but make it do what it do. And do your research and
Don't wear pineapples.
don't wear pineapples on a cruise. Until next time.
I learned that today.
Brought to you by 8 Robinsons TV and Yellow Tub Creative.